Our next guest speaker tonight is the Executive Spotlight, and that's Michelle Ricketts. And she's a business consultant and owner of Cohesion Services, powered by Wardell International. Wardell is an international business advisory firm that has worked with thousands of business owners in more than 15 countries. Michelle's mission is to transform clients' businesses to achieve their entrepreneurial dreams and do a happy dance regularly. So, Michelle, when do we get to do the happy dance?
Hopefully as often as possible.
So Michelle's coming to us from Vancouver, Canada. So when she says Wardell International, she means it.
Yes.
We ask our Executive Spotlight people to donate to a charity to be on the show. And she's had a few she's been supporting. So we're like, yeah, those are great charities. Keep doing that. So one of them is Twins Birthday Martial Arts Fundraiser for African Kids. And she can talk about that a little if she wants. And then a Night in Africa Gala. So she's really been trying to help other people all along. And it just kind of fits in with today's program.
Absolutely. And those two actually tie together. So the Night in Africa Gala was put on by a group that I am part of volunteering for. And I was the coordinator for the event, but it didn't start out that way. I started out just wanting to help out and just saw that they needed a coordinator. I was an event coordinator in part of my past life. And that tied in well. And then the twins' birthday, my twin brother and I decided that we would use our birthday to raise money for the organization. And so we did an online birthday and invited friends on Facebook and had cake and did trivia. And that was fun. So with our birthday, we raised, I think, just under $1,400 for them. And we also, I did over 100 hours with respect to the gala myself. So lots of involvement. I'm still involved with the group and we continue to see. And we're raising money originally for a school in Africa, in Uganda, but we pivoted. And right now we're just helping them get through COVID-19 because they've been locked down there since March.
So lots of happy dances there, I bet.
Lots of happy dances, yes. Even a bit of regular dancing too going on there.
So when you and I spoke, we talked about something that a lot of entrepreneurs kind of miss, and it kind of hurts their businesses a little. So you give that missing element to entrepreneurs. Do you want to address that?
Yes, I think you're talking about moving from corporate to entrepreneurial journey. Exactly. I actually been in the corporate world 30 years in 3 different industries: media, transportation, logistics, and financial services, credit card processing. But I've been downsized, resized 3 times, whatever you want to call it, in my career, and most recently last year. So when you look at it to say, do I want to be an entrepreneur? My brother and sister have always been. And for me, I enjoyed being in the corporate world, and it often gets bashed. But if you like what you do and you enjoy getting up in the morning, there's nothing wrong with it. But after that opportunity last year, I didn't feel that way anymore. I had loved my work, but I thought, I want to do more with entrepreneurs, both the experience working with the charity, my previous event background and event business that I did. I did an event series, actually started in the 90s with events, but coming into 2017, 2018, I did an event series for entrepreneurs where I brought in speakers to provide their expertise so entrepreneurs could take that away, use in their business, and hopefully balance life, had more time off, have a 3-day weekend lifestyle. That was the brand. So looking at that, I thought I wanted to do more. And that's what I think a lot of people from the corporate world don't really realize. That to become an entrepreneur, you have to have that drive to do more or to do something that pulls at your heartstrings as well as the mental side of it. So that's where I was at that time.
Wow. That's a very powerful story. I was in the corporate world before we started Gearhart Law, and Elizabeth, it was her idea. She said, these corporate jobs just aren't working for you, Richard. So she nudged me into starting the Gearhart Law Firm, and it's been 15 years. And I would say that people think that being an entrepreneur is risky, but I think being in the corporate world can be just as risky, not only in terms of job security, but also in terms of mental health. If it's not a good fit for you, then you can spend a lot of time being very unhappy. And, you hit the nail on the head. If you're happy, then that's great. But if you're not, then you can stay someplace you don't like for a long, long time just to get a paycheck. And I
Yes.
think that's a dangerous way to live.
Very much so, very much so. And you're so right, Richard. A lot of people do that. If you don't like getting up in the morning and looking at yourself in the mirror and going to work, you shouldn't be doing it. Change it. And that's really, for a lot of people, is the key. But then it's also finding what that next piece is,
Right.
and having the support. As Chris talked about, you have the people behind you, but if you don't have that, you have to find out and figure out what that is. So that's where what I do as a consultant comes in, because we help people who are going through that journey. They've already started something, but they need more people behind them. They need that support of moving their business forward, whatever that looks like. And that's where we come in and we help.
Right. And in corporate, there are a lot of things that people don't like. But when you become a business owner, I think you understand that there are a lot of things that corporate does that really help people be successful in business. And somebody with a corporate background can say, yes, I know that you want to do things this way, but if you put a little bit of structure to it, like you had in corporate, I think it's going to help you in the long run. And that's some of the experience that you bring as well.
Absolutely. We have what Mark Wardell has developed, we call our value program, and that's looking at a solopreneur and who do they have involved with their business other than themselves, because it is very hard to scale and grow a business on one person. So then we look at what are those people doing? What processes and systems are they doing? I'm sure with COVID, there was a lot of businesses that whether you had somebody who wasn't able to get in or they got sick and it's okay, well, Sue, take over what Joe is doing. Well, what does Joe do again? It's because it's in Joe's head or it's in Joe's heart, but it's not down on paper. So moving a business forward to be able to grow and scale, and at some point taking the owner out of it, not that they don't want to be involved, but they don't have to be there every day. The business becomes self-sustaining. So that's where we take our owners through. That's the journey we take them on.
A great comment. You always need backup if you're going to be running your
Yes.
business, whether it's the accounting function, the marketing function, if you have an HR function, product delivery function, you always need a plan B because you never know what's going to happen.
Well, I'm a huge believer in documentation, and I'm telling people now, look, don't even write it down. Just when you're telling somebody how to do something, videotape it. We can get it transcribed,
Yes,
but let's get
yes.
all this down. So I know Chris has been very successful with this company. Did you have a question or comment for Michelle?
I really believe that the solopreneur is not just working alone in their business, but they feel like they're alone. And that there's nothing worse than that, like feeling like you just don't have anywhere to turn. So it not only provides that, the systems and all of the things that you mentioned, but to Richard's point, it provides the support that you need, because it's really not worth it feeling that overwhelmed, right? And it's hard. It's easier said than done. Oftentimes we're feeling that, and it does impact not only our business, but our health as well. So I just thought that what you're talking about is very timely, Michelle.
Thank you so much. And I'll just add to what Chris is saying there with the backup and the support, in that where I help my clients is in a group format. So it makes it both affordable for the entrepreneur, but it also gives that additional level of support because you get camaraderie within that group as you move forward. You can think of it as a strategic think tank, but we also do training within that. So you have that greater support with the group as well as what we bring to the table as a consulting group.
It's interesting that we're having this conversation because we just created or launched a Find Your Hustle series with Power 105.1. And one of the initiatives, or a big part of that initiative, was helping people find their hustle. So people who may have been working in corporate America, who may have found themselves recently unemployed or been looking to leave corporate America and transition into full-time entrepreneurship. We actually had a gentleman on there whose name is Sean Perez. He was an intern for Sean Combs. And I asked him, and I'm going to ask you the same question, what was the pivotal point that or someone finds themselves at that they know they need to leave and become a full-time entrepreneur? And what does that process look like?
What I found is that for me, I was given the opportunity. So then you have to do something, because it's not you making the choice of the timing. But at the same time, it's great because I was already doing a little bit of something that I knew had value. And where the Wardell, powered by Wardell part comes in is I was able to reach out to a local organization who had been consulting for 20 years and use their program in my business. So for the entrepreneur, it's really finding what that piece is. And as you say, Kendra, it's not necessarily, it's timing. So for me, the timing, as I said, was forced. But for others, if you feel there's something you're really passionate about and you really want to do, that's usually going to be the timing. Or when you're getting up in the morning and not feeling happy about what you're doing, where you're going to work, that's the other piece. I could have gotten into the entrepreneurial game much sooner because I did have an event business on the side for many, many years, but I didn't feel that that's what was going to be my passion. My brother and sister said, "Oh, just jump in." You can do that, but it's not always the smartest thing. So it's that timing, really feeling, and then it's engaging with somebody that can help you. As Chris said, having that backing, having that support, and not thinking you have to do it all on your own.
That's really great. And I can't emphasize enough how important for starting entrepreneurs it is to get some training on the different functions of a business. So you may have a great product idea, you may have a vision of where you want to go, but you still need to understand how to read a balance sheet, need to understand your numbers. You need to know how to get your product noticed by marketing. You need to be able to convince people that they need your product. And those are like two minimum things that you really need to know. And then there's all the other infrastructure, the computers, the physical things. If you're manufacturing a product, then you have to get information about manufacturing. So getting an education in all of those areas when you're first starting out is critical because you can avoid a lot of mistakes. So even though I had been an attorney for 15 years before starting Gearhart Law, I knew everything there was, or thought I knew everything there was about intellectual property law. I didn't really have the business background. And so I spent a lot of time trying to learn how to, I never had to land clients before. So I needed how to learn that. And I needed how to learn how to do the finances and the taxes and all of those other things, the marketing and all of those things. And so I had a good solid core, but there was a lot that I needed to learn. So.
And that makes so much sense, Richard, because that's the piece that entrepreneurs often forget. People always think about the startups. They don't think about the person that's been in business for 3 or 5 years, because you're still kind of a startup until you're hitting that, that $1 million, that $2 million, that mark. So that's when businesses often need help as well, is to get over that next level. And they're putting their head down and they're moving forward and they're not getting anywhere because they don't have all that business acumen or business training or background that they need, that you're talking about. So it's not just the startup. Existing business need to think about investing in their business by actually engaging with consultants and training that they need.
It almost sounds too obvious to say, but one of the things that is so important is that if you want to grow your business, you have to have the money to grow it. So you have your time, but you also have money. So if you want to expand your business, you have to have enough money left over after your expenses and after your personal bills to spend more on marketing, or spend more on hiring, or spend more on accounting or software. So you have to make a profit. If you just take money out of the business all the time for yourself, you're never going to have the money to invest to grow it. And so that is also a major part when you're doing your planning. You need to account for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I had a quick question about, Richard brought up a good point about hiring. When do you know it's time to hire people? And like, how do you know you're ready? Like, what are some signs?
Absolutely. Well, it's interesting is right now with the group I'm working with currently, we just finished looking at hiring, and we're doing personnel reviews, employee reviews. But it's a great question, because a lot of times it's hard to know. But I would say even at the beginning, there are things that a business owner shouldn't be doing themselves. And Richard mentioned a few of them. Law absolutely is definitely one, but accounting, bookkeeping is another, because most people don't have expertise in those areas. So those are kind of a given as soon as you can. But for others, it's really having that ability, and it doesn't have to be an employee. It can be a contracted person. It can be outsourcing and using other services that provide part-time opportunities. It can be collaborations, joint ventures. So adding people to your business doesn't have to mean you have to hire them. So that's the first thing. And then it's looking at how much do you need and what's your expertise. We always talk about the fact that one of the things entrepreneurs have to realize is their expertise is in whatever their core business is, or service or product. It's not in everything else. So as soon as you can add people to do those other things that is their expertise, you want to do that. You also want to make sure that you are realizing what you are not good at. And you may like it, but if you're not good at, I like social media. I enjoy social media. I'm not great at it. It's something that I have to have other people do. So you really want to be able to add people in those different ways to make sure that it's benefiting your business as you move forward.
Fantastic advice, Michelle, and we're really happy that you made it to our show this evening. Where can people contact you again?
The greatest place to get me is on LinkedIn, and just look up Michelle Ricketts on LinkedIn. And also they could reach me, michelle.ricketts@cohesionservices.com.
Well, thank you for your words of wisdom. And if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Passage to Profit with Richard and Elizabeth Gerhardt on WOR 710, the voice of New York. And we'll be right back after this commercial break.